Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
King Simon, I love him. He's family, and he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually.
That's right.
So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, his show is called, it was really based on numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny.
Yes. By
King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth Carson, and I'm thrilled to introduce to you an extraordinary weekend event happening right here in Miami, Florida on August 3rd and 4th. It's none other than the second annual Forbidden Conscious Awards weekend. After the tremendous success of last year's event with over 1,200 attendees from around the globe, we knew we had to make this year's event even more spectacular. On Saturday, we have a captivating conference lined up featuring world-renowned speakers such as Muhammad Ibrahim, Merkaba 13, Robert Grant, Billy Carson, and a women's panel hosted by yours truly. Following the conference, we'll set sail for a VIP yacht cruise at sunset, where you'll have the chance to mingle with your favorite nominees and celebrity guests, all hosted by 19 Keys. Sunday, August 4th, kicks off with a Forbidden Knowledge book publishing signing event, followed by the highly anticipated second annual Forbidden Conscious Awards. This is a red carpet affair, so come dressed to impress. Remember last year we surprised a lucky guest with an Audi A4 during the awards, and this year we're upping the ante with a chance to win a Mercedes-Benz. So make sure you secure your tickets early. This event is sure to sell out quickly. I cannot wait to see each and every one of you there for what promises to be an unforgettable weekend of education, inspiration, celebration, and glamour.
Okay, family. How you doing? We have a great special show for you today. We usually have the Healing Vibe show, but our dear friend and person across the border is in Jamaica right now, of course, with her family, due to a passing of her wonderful uncle. So big up to Carrie Ann Ingram, who will not be with us today, but she will be with us hopefully next week for the Rizza Islam interview. Rizza Islam is coming in next week. Brother Rizza Islam will be here. Message to the millennials. However, today I wanted to bring on this beautiful sister that's coming up in the next couple of minutes. Her name is Neena Diamond. She's not only an author, she's a cardologist. She studies astrology. She studied numerology. And the topic is why cardology and other modalities make sense. Very important topic. A lot of you are in between the fences of religion and other spiritual practices that might be holding you back, but we're here to let you know that none of these things are here to hold you back at all. All you have to do is apply them to whatever you believe in and keep it moving. You know, it only makes you to become a better person in whatever you choose to do in your life. So enough respect to Neena, whom I'm going to have in. And then this weekend, we will be in Brooklyn, New York. That's right. This weekend, we will be in Brooklyn, New York. If you want to get your tickets right now for this weekend, live tickets, you can actually go to my Linktree /King Simon the and look for Spiritual Legacy, or allmylinks.com /King Simon Production, looking for Spiritual Legacy also Spiritual Alchemy. All right, because we're going to have a great weekend this weekend. We have a great weekend coming up this weekend as far as in Brooklyn, New York. So if you want your tickets, please go to that. I see my guest backstage. I'll be bringing her up in two minutes. So yeah, we're going to be doing what we got to do. Again, we got Ma Bowman, we got Unc Rising Sun, Mama Ella, and then the next day after that, we got Lloyd Strayhorn, Dr. Shakira Moore, Adara Moselle. It's going to be hot. And then next week, Wednesday, we got the one, the only Rizza Islam will be on our channel with my co-host will be back in the fray because she's in Jamaica today and have to handle some business with the family. And don't forget, Rizza Islam is going to be in Brooklyn, New York for 2 days, April 27th and April 28th. You can go to the Linktree and they will hook you up. You can go to the Linktree and they will hook you up, and you can find out how to see the live stream also. And then my martial arts teacher is celebrating 80 years from out of Sanukas Rue. One of the top students from Dr. Moses Powell's time and era. This brother here, Grandmaster Bill McLeod, is doing an 80th birthday celebration. His birthday is actually May the 8th, but he's doing it on May the 3rd and May the 4th. So big up to Grandmaster Bill McLeod. And then another Grandmaster in martial arts, Mfundishi, will be coming to Nicholas, Brooklyn. Big up to Mfundishi Jehutimas, will be in Nicholas, Brooklyn on May the 11th. Big up to my son with the recording studio. Big up to Carrie Ann Ingram and all that she does on her site. That is my co-host from out of Toronto. Big up to Lloyd Strayhorn. Always shout out Lloyd Strayhorn on my show, lloyd-strayhorn.com. Remember, if you want to book a session with me, text me your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. If you want to get my books, go to Linktree /King Simon the Numerovator. All my books, all my tickets, all my links. Go there. Amazon is popping, ready to. Also, my new audio book is about to come out. Look out for that. The Numerovation for mental stability, and also my new children's book is about to hit the streets. Also, all right. So, without further ado, we have a sister that we respect. She is not only an elder in this business, but she's also the mother of the great Aquarius Maximus. We got to always keep that in synonymous working. And I hope her lighting is doing well in the background. Make sure she's doing good. We're honored to have her back on. She's been on before. but she's been on when we had that whole big thing in New Orleans, when we did that thing with Jackie Levine and everybody else. So let's welcome right here on the stage of King Simon Presents Only Quality People, the one and only Neena Diamond in the building. What's up, Neena? How you doing?
Hey, oh wow. The introduction. I need all of this stuff for my YouTube.
Yes. Your lights are kind of dim, but are you all right over there?
Yeah, you need me some more light?
Yeah, you probably need some more light. You got some more light over there? I mean,
Yeah,
you want
hold on one minute.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll put myself in the front. Get that light in tight, so people want to see you. People want to see you. One of the books that I got from her before, this one here is Cardology, Astrology, and Numerology book by Neena Dunham. It's in the back by Neena Diamond. Also, I got her 360 manifestation. It's hard to see in this bright light because I got bright lights all over the place. But it's a journal, 369 manifestation journal. I have her book there. And I also have the Cardology University Planner by Neena Diamond. So big up to her. Yes, the light's looking much better. Let me make sure we get you in there. All right, good. Looking good.
You think so with that thing? See the light be over my head, that's not bad.
You want to bring you put your head in front of that light right there. Bring it's like a yeah, there you go. Put it right over there. But it's brighter now, so everybody can see it. That's good. Yeah, if you can stay in the fray in front of there, that's good. It's all right. You block it all out. How you been? What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. Energetic time in the South down here, outside in the grass and planting. I mean, it has been amazing, just grounding and doing all that yard work and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been busy.
It's beautiful. And I want people to know that you can please like, subscribe, comment, and share with at least 5 or more people, because we're going to get it in, because the topic for today is not that topic, the Black Gods. I did that earlier, the Black Gods. Why cardology and other modalities make sense. You know what I'm saying? Why it makes sense. Very important. First and foremost, Neena, thank you very much for coming on and our last minute, because of I was figuring what show I was going to do, because my co-host that we usually do the Healing Vibes show, she had to go to Jamaica for personal reasons. Somebody transitioned in her family, but she's also into tarot and all that. And but it's important that we learn the history of a lot of these things and the history of the person that has gotten into this. Now, what got you into going into cardology or using the cards, astrology, numerology, and all these other different modalities along your journey? Please, let's talk about it.
Well, when I moved to Georgia, all those years ago, me and my cousin were sitting around having a conversation, and she had Robert Camp's book. And I picked up the book and I started looking into the book, and I was just magnetized to it. You know how sometimes you just magnetize to something. Mm-hmm. And that was my journey. And then 10 years ago is when Aquarius Maximus really got into it, and it changed from the destiny to cardology. So it's been, you know how you go through metamorphosis, you start at one level and you end at another level. So It's been something that I've always been, I started in astrology. It's so funny. I started in astrology when I was 14 years old, when I was in the Black Panthers.
Oh, wow.
And then, Lloyd Strayhorn in numerology. So It's a progression of things that tie together and fit perfectly. And, end up in a place where we are now, where people are opening up and awakening, to these, because they can see in these times, they can find answers. They can find answers to things that they're looking for in real time. So cardology is definitely that thing that does, make it a little bit more, makes it a little bit more mysterious. Cardology is a 9 of clubs, and it's a sexy energy, attached to that. So it's universal knowledge. So people really, want to know once you start. Once you understand one thing with the cards, you want to know. It's in your book. When I got your book, I was like, dang, he got cardology in here. I was like, it was just so dope. So yeah.
I had to shout it out because it's a working modality that confirms one another. But you said you started at young. What was your parents saying when you started doing this at young?
Well, I was that kid. I'm number 7, so by the time, my brothers were in the nation, they were in the 5%ers. One of my brothers is a Krishna. So my brothers had opened up those doors, back then in the 60s and 70s, it was deep into Christianity, but my father wasn't. My father was very curious about everything. So he wasn't so, my mother, she had an understanding. She had gone through, like I said, my brothers, and they had opened her up to a different way of thinking. So, it really was not hard for, them to, have that, to really let me. And like I said, I was number 7. They was tired. So to let me expand. And my dad, he listened to the radio every day. So he listened to Lloyd Strayhorn and everybody on BLS, LIB. So he was well versed in these things. And he was the reason that I started listening to Lloyd Strayhorn. So
Right. And a big up to Neena. Remember, your link tree is linktree/peace157. That's correct?
Yeah.
And everybody, the link is pinned at the top of the chat, so you can actually go to a link for anything that you want. And also, of course, we have her Cash App, of course, $Saturn7796. That's $Saturn796. Linktree, of course, her IG is Diamond_8. And of course, you can email her and contact her via email at diamond@11university.com. So make sure you support all of the things that she's doing. I'm studying. Of course, I got the books I'm reading, and and I find it very interesting that with cardology and how you or Aquarius Maximus do it, y'all are able to connect it with every little thing, just like we do with numbers also. Because I know it has numbers, connections, and all that kind of stuff, and it's astrological. But where would you say that the history of cardology started? Where did it all start?
Well, we have had that conversation extensively, and we really believe it started with Atlantis, right? We believe it started back as far back as then. And of course, it was energy. It's like our ancestors were smart enough to give us a deck of cards, a simple deck of cards, put it in the cards. But when we think about the energy, it's like today's energy is a Jack of Diamonds. So every day has a specific energy, and our ancestors just knew how to use it. So we definitely think it was as far back as Atlantis. We know that somewhere along the line it became forbidden, and is when they started doing tarot, and then when they incorporated the cards in the tarot, so they didn't pay any attention to them. So you have the pictures that it's different than looking at a deck of cards and then hiding it in the tarot cards. So, that was a transition to that, but, it just went down, just became more mysterious, more secretive and stuff when it fell into the wrong hands, of course, right? It wasn't in our hands at that time, right?
Right. And that's interesting because I remember reading a book called Tarot Coming from the Origin of Kemet. I have it's a whole book, and I gave it to somebody after I read it, that you can actually find it going in. Then they're going through the history of it and where it got to Italy and all that kind of stuff. It went through all of that. It's metamorphosis. And we're saying Atlantis, but a lot of people, out there don't bear witness to Atlantis because they don't really, they know real thorough history about this Atlantis. There's really no thorough history about Atlantis or Lemuria. So that's where a lot of people get confused. If people nowadays they want people to source up and all that kind of stuff, but yet it gets deeper because they are finding pyramids underwater. They are finding things like that. They're discovering cities, all kinds of cities underwater, and it's great. Now, is there any particular book that writes about the Atlantean connection with the cardology or the tarot or anything like that?
There are, there are several books. Of course, I don't have them in front of me right now, but there are several books that, they talk about it at great length. And, if you can Scribe, you familiar with Scribe?
Right. Yes.
You can go to Scribe and type in cardology, type in tarot, type in anything, and they have a wealth of information on there that you can find, with a lot of books that are unpublished now. So yeah, there's lots of information out there if you want to dig. Once you get on there, once you get on Scribe and you start typing in stuff, you're going to be led to something else. So, but yeah, there are definitely books out there that tie it together.
Yes.
And tell you about, like you said, the when more so tarot, than the cards. That is with only rich men and some of the magi that have written on some of the things, but nothing as in depth as it is with the tarot. Though no, not that I found, but
And I know you and your daughter has been like a forefront of doing this, and now also people like Jackie Levine is jumping on it, and she's writing books and everything else, and that's a beauty. And you got a couple of books, you got more than just these books out there, and and of course the workshops that you do. And now, from your perspective, what do you feel is the problem with our people that when they get these type of consultations, most of them don't like to follow through? What do you see? What you think about that? Because I noticed that with people a lot.
Well, it's because you got to meet people where they are. This is a new way. It's when we think about self-actualization, self-realization. It's like I believe we're all genetically modified. So, throughout our life, our parents were genetically modified. When we were born to them, they pass it on to us. So relearning and because we have created a whole language. So it's a new language. It's a new way of communicating. And once you start making the connections, people are wide open. But it takes time. Once you go back home, or once you're at work, or once you're someplace else, and you're now back into that modification, you're gonna fall off. So that's why the work that we do is so important, out here having these conversations with people, because I have hundreds of videos up. Anytime anybody wants to go and listen to a video, my class is on right now, but this is my last certification class that I'll be doing. Okay. But there are so many things that are out there now that people are finding, and people are creating it too. There are so many people that have come out of my university, Levin University, and then out of Aquarius, and then other people out there that are teaching that the conversation is growing. But you have to meet people where they are. In this day and time, people have work, they have family, they have children, they have relationships, they have so many things. I like to talk about it from the Little House on the Prairie perspective, because once you give the person the tool, they can do anything with it. Right. So I like to do it in a more organic, instead of the sexiness of it, of, I want a relationship, or I wanted this. If you master the cards, the relationships are easy. Right. So having those conversations with letting people know that everything that you do in life will fold into it. So you got to make the time to do your studying. Right.
Right. And knowing that everything, whether they believe it or not, it always works behind the scenes. A lot of people don't realize. I don't care if you don't believe it. If you do believe it, I tell people all the time, you got to pay attention. Eventually, you're going to see it. And if you don't see it one way, you see it another, because I think a lot of people over the years have been inundated with the newspaper way of presenting any type of these metaphysical nuances, like the horoscopes, weekly horoscopes and all that. And people get caught up in it. So I could be an Aquarian and read about Scorpion. It might benefit for me. But if you don't know all of the houses that you're in, my moon is Scorpion. So it might show that, boom, there it is. My Jupiter is Cancer. My Cancer is Jupiter. So once you see those type of things, and what I love about these modalities, they can all verify one another in a different perspective. Have you seen that have you seen that from your perspective over the years that you've been doing it? Because you've been doing it for a long time. You're an OG in this.
Yeah, well, I like to have that conversation with people, because I said numerology doesn't change. Astrology doesn't change. If I'm talking about a number 5, it's a number 5. So when people can connect that together, they are, it's sometimes it's difficult because you're thinking about it as being separate. But no, today is a jack of diamonds, so a jack is ruled by number 11. So anything that we're dealing with, numerology, astrology, we're talking from the same place. And, when you're reading these things, and that's the beautiful thing about us, our, Black people, is that when you're reading it in these ancient books, the connection isn't there. And when we start putting our intuition into it, the sky is the limit. You can intuit into, people say things to me all the time, and I'm like, that's not wrong. That's your intuition. Let's go with that. Right. So using the intuition is, so important. And the young people are going to do it a lot easier. And especially with Pluto in Aquarius, it's a wrap. Pluto entered Aquarius, Uranus rules metaphysics. So the way that we learned under Saturn is over. So this is the breaking the ground of getting into Uranus and learning. In, you think about the number 4. So we know what the number 4 represents, but the number 4 is also a foundation. It helps you to lay the foundation. So when the shifts and the changes happen, you can go with them. So while Pluto is entered Aquarius, it's telling us that everything is subject to change, right?
And and let's get that a round of applause. I've kind of taken a step into the mental health part of it because it's very important, and mental health has definitely started coming up at a higher level, when at one time our people didn't want to go to therapy. We're not thinking about hypnotherapy or hypnosis and all of that type of stuff. And why like I've said before, why I wrote that book on numerovation for mental stability is because two of my friends that was not coincidental, but actually energetically connected to that number 13, which is a 4. And I said, that is and that was inspired by Lloyd back in the day, because he always said 4 was one of those numbers that can have self-affliction upon themselves and all that kind of stuff in his book. But then I had to go deeper because I started seeing other numbers and in cardology. What are some of the primary numbers dealing with mental health and when people are going down those roads of mental health?
It's so crazy because you're a jack of spades, and you're looking into that because a jack of spades would totally deal with mental health because it's spades. And not right now you're a king of spades, and the king of spades is one of the most fixed cards in the deck, and it definitely deals with mental health issues. Spades represent the later time in your life. It's about wisdom, it's about health. It deals with that time in your life where we're looking at things through wisdom. But spades also can have drudgery attached to them, and this time of the year from January to June is where it's pretty prevalent with depression, because the sun is not out as much, people are inside. But spades represent that time. So when spades show up in your hand, it's about the health of the situation. It's about making sure that you're protecting your mental health and understanding that it's gonna pass. So there is so much to really delve deep into the cause. I'm a social worker, right? And of course, when of course at work, I didn't tell people that I use these modalities, but I did. So I could look at people's chart, and I had their birthdays. I had everybody's birthday. I didn't have cards then, but I had numerology, and they would say, well, how do you know this? And I would just play it off that as it's just social work. But these things, these modalities are something that are very important for us to have that understanding, because if you have a lot of 4s in your name, you have, we look at names and we look at even where you live at, your house, all of these things are significant. So, and especially some people in some places, they stay stuck, they never move. So that mental illness is a real thing because they haven't expanded, they haven't used the 5, they haven't gotten out and experienced things. So mental health in the cards is critical. And like I said, you being a jack of spades, it would definitely be something that you would be sensitive to. Because whether you being the jack of spades, of course, your higher card is the queen of spades, which is definitely the card that represents mental health. But that King of Spades, it's a very fixed card, and it's Saturn. So you think about the fixedness of it and how, it's my Mercury card. I've dealt with mental health all my life. I've dealt with depression all my life. It wasn't until I got into the cards where I was like, well, yeah, yeah, I see why, so it opened me up to an understanding of what depression really is, because every card has a solar value. So when we look at the solar value, we look at the life path of it, and then we're able to navigate.
Powerful. And a lot of people don't really realize that, that's why in my book I got disclaimers, because some people will use it and misuse this information. And they have done this over the years, misusing the information to either control other people instead of guiding people, which is really what it's here to do, to guide people and take people on that work of that spiritual work ethics in some way too. And a lot of people don't really realize that we've been pushed fear upon through religious dogmas to shut down a lot of that and not help us to be accountable. Tell us how cardology and a lot of these other modalities help people to be accountable for who they are, to be better in whatever spiritual or religious system that they're under, please.
Well, it's the challenges that come up, because whether you're dealing with cardology or astrology, there are going to be things, there are going to be things that come up in your life. They're going to force your hand. Right. And you can play your hand to win, or you could just fall off in the wayside. So learning that understanding is like, if we look at somebody that's at 29 years old, we know that's your Saturn return, right? We know that that's going to be a very integral part of your life. So we look at where you're sitting at in that during that time, and we get a chance to see what you came. Everybody came here. We made agreements to come here, right? And we all came here with all of this knowledge and information. We're waking up to it. So the cards give you a blueprint. This, like if we look at now with the United States, now this is something that, we use a lot, is looking at the United States and what's going on in the United States, because we can get a chance. Now this July, this 4th of July is going to be an extremely important time for Black men. And Jazz and I are definitely having a conference. We're having a 2-day conference on that, because the card for Black men is the 5 of diamonds, right? And there's going to be something significant that happens after the 4th of July. Of course, this is United States 248th birthday. Right. Anybody who knows astrology knows it takes 248 years for Pluto to return. So this is a very significant birthday for the United States and the Black man, and it's something that I've been following for the last 6 years. So definitely looking at it to help you understand what's happening, because these cards travel together. It's like you'll see synchronicities in your life. You'll see you live someplace, it's familiar to you. So when we look at your astrology chart and you see, wow, this is why I'm drawn to this place. And then you look at your cards and you see the people that are around you. So yeah, the synchronicities are there.
And you said something very key about the 4th of July. It's a Jack of Diamonds that you said. And it's going to be very significant. Express why it's going to be very significant for Black men in particular.
Because we have placements. We use the grand solar squares, right? This is an ancient part of how you read the cards. And each year, a specific card is sitting in the sun, right? It's displacing the 8 of diamonds. And the 5 of diamonds, which is the card of the Black man, is sitting in the sun. So this is a very auspicious placement. So when you look back over the last 6 years, the 5 of diamonds, you have the 3 of diamonds, which is Diddy's card. You have the 9 of diamonds, which is Cat Williams' card. All of these cards are traveling together. So the using them to distract, us from the greatness that is coming is pretty much what's happening all the time. Excuse me. But the 5 of diamonds is sitting in the sun. It's the pinnacle. So Black men will be at their pinnacle on July 4th, 2024. So if you've done the work, it will show. If you haven't done the work, it's going to show. The 5 of diamonds, like fives, they're here they're very they want to live. 5 of diamonds is a change in resources. It's a Saturn Neptune card. So if you know astrology, Saturn and Neptune together, that could be a difficult placement because Neptune is about dreams and it could be escapism, it can be a disillusionment, but Saturn makes it real. Right, so you have water and earth together, not the best. And then Mercury rules 5. So in communications. So we're going to see on the 4th of July, just how, because we're looking at a 248-year cycle. This is the New World Order. Things have changed and we feel it. We feel it in our spirits, but how do we translate it, especially with social media? Because you now have social media where all of this misinformation is through the celebrity and through everything else. It's put out all of the time. So people get caught in that. But if you sit, you feel it. You, especially if you're a black man, you feel something significant, whether you want to address it or not. It's fine, right? But you feel something significant, and especially in hip hop, like this week, especially we look at hip hop as a jack of clubs. It's the card of hip hop, and it's displacing the king of clubs, which is the law. It represents the law, and we've seen where hip hop is changing, where it's being forced. This week, look at the young man that said he's not going to do any more dissing, right? Last week, right? So when I look up
J. Cole, right?
Yes.
But who just passed on today was Mr. C from 97. He born August 17th. I worked with him before in the club years ago. So so interesting enough that he's in a number 8 year, he born 17th, and he transitions in this 8 year. Because I tell people, although it can be favorable for 8, it can also be an unfavorable if you didn't take care of your health in that 8 also, if you're not doing what you need to do in that 8. But going back to what you were saying about the 4th of July or 4th of July, what is it? How will it affect the women on the other side of the men?
Yes, and this is the support, because the card that supports the 5 of diamonds, red cards are masculine and black cards are divine feminine. So the card that supports it is a divine feminine card. So the women are going to be the support. They're going to be the support to this transition.
And what about the women that decides that they don't want to do the support?
Well, there's going to be men that are not going to want to do it. It's across the board. Across the board, we're going to have both. But with Pluto and Aquarius, you're going to get dragged. This is not the time where the universe is playing. In 20 years, this world will not be recognizable. Pluto and Aquarius for 20 years is changing the game. That's Uranus. So everything that we're talking about it from the paradigm of Saturn and Neptune. That's the past. Right now, you don't have to participate. You're going to be dragged. Pluto entered Aquarius, and Pluto and Aquarius is going to force our hands. It's going to put us in situations where we have to build communities, where we have to be in groups and fraternities and unions. Unions are coming back big time. Unions are coming back, because as we look at the new jobs that are coming out, they're going to have to, through technology and stuff like that, unions are going to be coming in, because unions are ruled by Uranus. So we're going to look at fraternities and unions and all of these major things that have been put in place for so long being a big part of this change. But Pluto and Aquarius has changed the game. If you're not feeling the openness of Aquarius and you're still stuck in Saturn, then that's on you. We're free. Saturn is where it will retrograde back, but for all intents and purposes, for the next 20 years, we are in the age of Aquarius that people wanted. We've been in it, but I'm just saying, for the next 20 years, this world will not be recognizable. So you either get in or you just, whatever the universe does, I don't know.
Get
But
it?
Pluto does not ask your permission. Pluto puts you in situations where you have to. Pluto is dealing with your ego. Pluto is ruled by Mars. Co-ruler is Mars, and it's all about you. So Pluto says, okay, you want this. Now let's look at how we can get it. And we've been asking for this for a long time. So Aquarius is saying, let's do it, right? So you either participate or you don't.
That's right. We have family. If you're just tuning in and locking in, please like, subscribe, and share with at least 5 people. Remember, we have Neena Diamond in the building. Of course, our guest, our cardologist, she's an author and much more. Mother, grandmother, all of that. She's doing all of it. Make sure you contact her via email at diamond@11university.com or hit her up at IG at diamond_8. And remember, she got a link tree right there, linktree/peace 157. And don't forget, spread love by Burn Up Cash App. That's how you do it, as $Saturn 796. That's Saturn, $Saturn 796. You know, a lot of us are.
But wait 1 minute, Simon. That's Diamonds with a S on my Diamonds with a S on IG.
Oh, it's IG, Diamonds with an S?
Yeah,
okay, let me make
Diamonds
sure
with an S. Yeah.
Diamonds with an S. Diamonds are forever. Back in the day songs. Okay, got Diamond with an S. Let me make sure we got that back in fray. There it is. Diamonds with an S. Diamonds_8. Correct? That's it. All right. So, you know, a lot of us are reluctant to studying a lot of this because of what our family has pushed on us, and what the agreement that they made with families, like of course the domestication, the mind control, and all of that. For the novice that's getting into us, what would be one of your first materials or one of your first books you would suggest that they will get to
my book the book that I wrote, Tools for Everyday Life. It breaks down numerology, it breaks down cardology, and it breaks down astrology with each card. So it breaks it down and tells you, we're talking about a 5. It's going to tell you 5s are ruled by Mercury. It's going to tell you clubs are ruled by Mercury, and you know, so on and so forth. So my book, definitely, I wrote it for that purpose, because when I started this, I had books all around me, ancient books, right? But I had so much in my head that was telling me something was missing. Yeah, the divine feminine, all of those books that were written by the divine masculine, and they were white men that definitely were not writing about me. Right. So I wanted to find myself. So I started looking to trying to figure out how I could do, what I needed. I needed this. So I wanted to be a part of that. So that's why I have my books, because each one of my books is going to help you to have a better understanding, because I'm a fundamentalist. I grew up at a time where it was reading, writing, and arithmetic. Right. Stuff is simple for me. Keep it simple. I don't like complicated stuff. Some people do. And that's fine. But I want it to be simple, because then you can build from there. Right. So that's the book, Tools for Everyday Life. That book breaks it down, in a way that is very clear. Right. So family, I'm scrolling it through, but she has a lot of great books on here, downloading the amazing Grand Solar Spread. And she does, and you could also sign up for her mailing list and everything that's doing, of course, Harmonies, Veil, the Untold Story of the Crack and the Rock of Ages. Now that's interesting, because I know you've been through similar situations with that. Tell us about this book right here, because this is a very interesting title. Tell us about this book, please. Well, I had, both of my first husbands, back in the, I would guess, 70s going on into the 80s, had street cred, being out there selling drugs and stuff like that. But when crack came along, it changed the game, because you could selling marijuana and selling cocaine wasn't the same. When crack came along, selling crack, it was a whole different game, and they got caught out there in that, right? Me as a mother and as a wife, not, you're in it. I was in it. I was in a marriage with someone that was, in a very difficult place, right? And it was just trauma. It was very traumatic. It was me trying to protect my children, trying to protect myself. and still honoring him, right? Because he's still their father, regardless of how I felt. And then living in New York at that time, it was just very difficult. And then being a social worker, it was extremely difficult during that time. And I was just fighting for my life, just fighting to stay, fighting for my mental health during that time. I met someone later on, and this person was a really good person, and we got into a relationship, but something just wasn't right, and it changed. And I watched the metamorphosis from someone going. I lived with someone who was on crack, but I didn't. It was different. All of these decades later, when I met someone that didn't portray themselves that way, but watched their metamorphosis, I knew all the signs. I lived with it. I knew it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So watching it was like, a reality TV show. And I was like, this is content. You know what I mean? I was like, this is content. This is gonna be good. So this is my story. This is my story on how I first. It blew my mind. It's really, you think about when I was 29 years old. Before, yes, my Saturn return, but me and my husband, where we were, raising our family, living our lives, living our best lives, and here comes crack. And looking in the cards, this is a cardology book. This tells you about crack in the cards, right?
Right.
So the card for crack is a 10 of hearts. And that's Michael Jackson's card by no strange coincidence, right? So the card for crack is a 10 of hearts, and it's also the card of clarity. So crack came into our community at a time where we were flourishing. We were flourishing spiritually. We were really flourishing as a community, raising our families. And it was not by no strange coincidence that they used this to stop that. So all of the things that I was experiencing energetically and mentally and spiritually, it was, it was stopped by my husband now being my adversary. I'm still spiritual, but he's on crack. So I just bridged those two together to show how my spiritual life and his life collided.
Powerful. People go to the link. Her Linktree takes you to her website as Linktree / of course, Peace 157. She got a lot of information, and those that want to recognize. I guess it's probably respectful to say that cardology and these things to also see all the different addictions, so to speak. Can find all the different addictions. Since you notice it through crack, also drinking is also a part of it, and smoking too much excessive weed smoking and all that kind of stuff. One person asked a question. How would we look at it from the Ethiopian standpoint? They are 7 years behind in the Western world, and are they in the age of Aquarius as well? Of course they are,
Well, there's one thing that I love. I love that we are so inquisitive about things, but us who live here, we can't discount where we are, right? The Jack of Diamonds, bar none. The United States, bar none. When we look at how we were created, the United States is a Jack of Diamonds, and you have Europe, which is the king and queen. So the United States has always been, we're here for specific reasons, right? United States is the gateway portal. This is a portal. This is an energetic portal to all of the spirituality on this side of the world, right? So people get caught up in the minutia of politics and stuff like that because that's what it's meant to do. This is one of the most spiritual countries energetically. Energetically, we are sitting in a giant spiritual utopia. Right? Is why things happen the way that they happen here. So we have, we could definitely study ancient times, but Pluto and Aquarius and these young children don't care. So we have to get out of Saturn and all of the things it used to have and save our children because they weren't born under those times. They can't even relate because there's so many things that are thrown at them and they're bombarded all the time. They're not going to listen to you. They don't care. You need to show them what's happening today. And you need to help them energetically to feel what they're feeling, right? Because those things are, for studying purposes, always. We'll always be studying. But right in these times right now, this is about helping people understand how great they are where they are. Because people give the United States a bad rap, right? Because of politics and everything else. But the United States, bar none, is one of the most spiritually rich countries. And it was picked and it was made a Jack of Diamonds because that's 11. That's a master number, right?
That's right.
And it's diamonds, it's all resources. So we have these things that we get into the darkness of the things that they throw at us, and we don't use our magic. We are magical people. Magic. We are magic. Everything that we touch, football, basketball, music, is a gold mine for everybody else because we don't use our magic for ourselves. So when we sit and we have these conversations, we got to learn how to be more magical. We got to learn how to talk to these children where they are, right? Because some of our ancestors left 5 years ago and was born so they could be in these times. So they're not babies like they were in the 60s and 70s. These are beings that came back here to be in these times. So we got to start thinking more magical. We got to start thinking from a more, self-realized, because the only ones that don't know how great and magical we are is us.
That's right. So, although, the person, thank you very much for your super chat, Amarin. Thank you very much. But again, please like, subscribe, and share to at least 5 people. Please like, subscribe, and share. And remember to support our dear sister at her Cash App. That's $Saturn796. Hit her up at Linktree for her books and all of her stuff that she have. I'm not going to keep her up here for long because this was really a special broadcast because we wasn't doing the healing. But I said, this is a number 10 day, and she's born under that one energy. I'm born under that one energy. Let's work this one energy together. You know what I'm saying? Diamonds_8 is her IG, and of course Diamond at 11university.com is her email. She's an author, she's a cardologist, she's a mother. She's gone through the ups and downs of life, so she can be a very good consultant for you if you're going through it with your husband or you're going through it with your wife that might be down that drug road and all that. How you can give them some real straightforward but simple. Keep it simple. Yes. Type of information. Me too. I like to keep it simple, stupid. I like that. I think that's the most important, because if a 5-year-old and an 85-year-old can't learn together, it don't make sense to me. Exactly that part. But Neena, it's I commend the journey that you've been on, especially dealing with those type of energies of the crack era, and also your children dealing with it. Because, driving down with Aquarius Maximus was very interesting. The conversation was very interesting when we came to New Orleans, and your father being in the fray. Her father was in it. I know he just transitioned, but the father was also in contact with her while we were trying. So, big up to her and big up to all of y'all that y'all had to deal with that. But do you think that his transition is going to bring him back to do something different in this realm again? It's
fresh for me, and that's fresh for me, and I'm trying to forgive. Of course. I still got a lot of wounds from that. Yeah. So that's something that I pray. I pray for him. I pray for all of that stuff. So yeah, that's something that's dear to my heart, because the struggle that he had his whole life, and this, and he's, he was my first husband. So my second husband is still alive. So the synchronicities of that time, and both of them have the exact same thing as their dad, the lack of their dad. So both of them have the exact same thing as that wanting, that desire for that connection, with their dad, that, is something that they carry throughout their whole life. And then the person that I subsequently met was the same exact person. So this is why I had to write this book. I said, because there's something about me.
That's what I was going to ask next. That's what I was going to ask next. Go ahead. There's something
about me, right? That is screaming in my face. And yeah, that's why I had to write the book. I said, because my life has this journey. And, you know, if you're a healer, you are going to attract. And that's it. That's, you know, you attract, and people are very comfortable, especially, you know, I'm ruled by Venus. Men are extremely comfortable with me.
Right.
So that, you know, having that understanding of the healing and all of the things that come through is something that, you know, I had to really delve into, you know, because that's a deep, that crack wound, that's a deep wound.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm
I'm
glad you said that, because this generation is now throwing around a lot of the words like narcissists and all that kind of stuff. And then you have people that say that they are empaths, but they're attracting narcissists, but they won't point the finger at themselves for attracting the narcissist. Because obviously there's something narcissistic about you that's pulling them towards you. Something in you that's pulling them towards you, but everybody's throwing that word around so easily without even knowing that. All these, majority of women be saying, "Oh, I'm an empath, he's a narcissist." I'm like, really? I was like, why you keep on attracting the same type of energy if you didn't have it?
That part. And, you know, because, you know, my husband that, you know, just transitioned, that I was married to for 23 years. It will be 28 years this year. My husband that subsequently came in and put my family together and raised my kids and stuff like that after I left, you know, that husband. So, but looking at that and seeing that, I did transition out of that, right? And you know, when I left out of my Mars period and I went into my Jupiter period, which Jupiter rules the husband, right?
Right.
So looking at how that part of me did heal, where I was not attracting that energy anymore, right? You know, I had to really do that deep work, and you know, it came about during my formative years. Crack came into our community during my formative years, right? So my brothers, unfortunately, I lost brothers to it. You know, looking at my generation, I've lost at least 80% of my generation to drugs. You know, so there's a big void in my life because of the people that I grew up with. They died a long time ago.
Wow.
Right. So it's a big void there from my peers, you know, that I always wrestle with and think about during that time, too. But it's definitely something that I had to learn. If crack is a 10 of diamonds, 10 of hearts, right? That's Mars, Jupiter. And Mars represents me and Jupiter represents the husband. So what was I doing to continually attract this energy? Right. So that's now
you said crack is a 10 of heart or a 10 of diamonds? What is
10 of hearts.
10 of hearts. Wow. You know, my father went down the cocaine route. I don't know if he did the crack. He did go the cocaine route, and he's born 9/25. He's born September 25th, which is interesting, because I know in your book you said September 25th is the Queen of Hearts. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be definitely a card that, you know, it's Neptune, and we know Neptune rules, you know, it rules drugs, it rules, you know, things of such. So, and it's a Queen of Hearts is a card of excess.
Right. And it's so funny about the story is that what made him go to rehab is after I was in the Nation of Islam at that time. And I came to my grandmother's house to visit my grandmother, who I didn't know she had went away. But my father was in the house pillaging the house for drug money. And then I startled him. And I had my full bow tie and suit with an attaché case. And I told him, I said, you know, you say you believe in Jesus, but Jesus wasn't no drug addict and Jesus wasn't no punk. And that's when he heard his firstborn say that to him. That stimulated him to say, you know what, I'm going to stop this and do do the rehab, and he's been free of drugs for the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, but he's seeing his own little boy watch him in that state. He didn't like that.
Yeah.
If, you know, somebody he was in and out of my life, but when I came out of that same house, he got kicked out of that house by my mother and my grandmother because of his womanizing crazy ways back in the day. But you know, it was deep that I was the one that he said was the catalyst for him to want to go and get that rehab, me being born under that spade, that initiator number.
And let me tell you, this is what is so crazy, because if you have, say you look at, you're on drugs and you have a Jack of Spades that year in Saturn, you're going to give up drugs. So we can look at it and see where those cards sit at, Jack of Spades and Saturn. Oh, you're going to stop or you're going to die. One of the two.
It was definitely leading, because he had a quadruple bypass heart attack. He went through a lot of stuff, and that after he went through that, it's just like at 42 he went through that, and again at 4 and 2. I'm like,
and 42. That's going into midlife crisis. 42 is leading you into the when they put Christ on the cross. So if you don't stop, you know, and the synchronicities of that, the Jack of Spades is a very powerful card. When it shows up in your hand, if it shows up in your hand and it's your Neptune card, you're gonna continue in drugs, right? You're gonna continue, you're gonna feel good about it. But your Saturn or Pluto, your Pluto card it's gonna hurt.
Well, this is going to be the last question, and I want you to also give the last word, especially about the eclipse and what just took place, and how people can still use the energy of the eclipse moving forward, as far as taking themselves on an elevated level, higher levels. How was it for you that day? Because I did go outside of my backyard and grounding, and I was able to look at it through my blue blockers like this glasses, and it got the space got dim, but it didn't go totally dark. It didn't get dim, and we did, because it wasn't in that line of totality like we would have gotten. So tell us how that affected you, and how what you would suggest our people to rise or use those energies that we're in now, doing the cards and astrology and numerology. How would they use it? Please.
Well, and this goes to where I said the United States is one of the most magical countries that there is, right? Because the eclipse was on the King of Diamonds day, right? And the King of Diamonds is a mastery of industry. It's a very spiritual card, and this card is Venus Mars. So this is definitely looking at relationships, and we have to, one thing that we always got to default back to is Pluto and Aquarius, because everything, the eclipse didn't happen last year, it happened now. So the eclipse, we got to put it in the understanding that this is Pluto and Aquarius. So what we have to do, we're looking at how we're going to be using that Uranian energy. But the King of Diamonds is Venus Mars. So that's talking about relationships right out the gate. But the King of Diamonds is the Saturn card to the United States. And we've seen major industries fall. And there are many more that are coming, because this is Saturn Pluto. And Saturn Pluto conjunctions, they bring up stuff that has been dormant forever. So the way that the United States conducts business is under review. And this is where we got to understand our magic, right? Because the world in the United States is collapsing, but while it's collapsing is when people are supposed to be building.
Right.
So we have like the card of entrepreneurship is the 3 of Diamonds, which happens to be Diddy's card, right? And it's in Jupiter. So this is the year where we have to use our magic, right? Because as things fall, we build.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So the King of Diamonds being that card, it happened on that day. So that means that the King of Diamonds life path has been activated. So of course you are the Jupiter card to the King of Diamonds. So you will be someone that is going to be front and center in leading this charge. Right? Because that's Jupiter. And Jupiter is about, when we think about Jupiter, that's a societal planet, but Jupiter is a networker, and that's all you do is network.
Exactly.
So networking is going to be something that is going to be very important, because networking is how we build. But the King of Diamonds is telling us that we got to step up into mastery. That's a master card.
Yeah.
So we have to crowd out everything. We have the bots sit on social media and y'all are sharing lies. You're sharing false information. And if you look at you're the energy that is fueling all of the people that you hate. All of the days that you talk about are using your energy through all of the things that you participate in. We have to come to the understanding of how magical we are. We have to cry. We have to and it's a feeling that you have. It's not, it's like when you're at that time, when you're at your quietest and you got all that turmoil and all that stuff, it's because you refuse to do what King Simon said. That it's you.
Exactly.
It's not nobody else. It's not your husband. It's not your mother. It's not anybody. These things happen. It's like in cardology, every card has a challenging karma card.
Right.
That's what you owe. The cards, when we look at the cards, we can find so much in them to help us to I want people here. I just want you, this is one thing. Tomorrow begins the United States. United States was born on Thursday. So tomorrow begins the new week. I want you to just pay attention to a few things that I'm going to say that's going to happen, that the cards that say it's going to happen next week. We have the King of Hearts that is displacing the Three of Diamonds. Now that's the King of Hearts, right? It's Biden. The Three of Diamonds is Trump. These are two same people. So did you think they're separate? They have never been separate. They're the two same people that when they leave, they sit and high five each other, right?
Exactly.
Because they are the two same people. They are two same people. And they have the 10 of Diamonds is their Neptune card starting tomorrow. I want you to pay close attention to those two, because the subtleties are the things that our ancestors want us to pick up on. Right, those two people next week it's going, and there's a lot of war activity out there, right? So there's going to be rumors of wars all the time, but I want you to pay attention next week to the synchronicities
of those two.
There's going to be so many synchronicities through those two, but there's so many opportunities next week. And we're doing a challenge. We're doing a 5 of Hearts challenge that we started 2 weeks ago. So I want you to I want you to put on your thinking cap and think about what it is in your life, what new opportunities that are going to come that you've been asking for, and now you get a chance to act on. I want you to pay close attention. This is what magic is. Magic is going to show you between those two. Yeah. There's going to be some subtle things that come out that the average person is, because people swear that they two different people. I don't know why you think they're two different people. They are one coin with two heads, right? That's exactly. So I want you to pay close attention and see. And somebody said, what's happening for the 2 of Clubs? This is 2 of Clubs week. What's happening this week for you, right? This is your week, the 2 of Clubs, for you to be shining. So definitely listen and pay close attention to the things that have to do with all things resources. And as much as you possibly can, realize in these times with destruction, there's building going on at the same time. Things are collapsing and people are seeing it collapse. People are like, oh, so-and-so store went out of business. Okay, this is my opportunity. You got to start looking at things as an opportunity and not as it being a problem, right? Pluto in Aquarius, right? Aquarius rules what? What does Aquarius want us to do? That's the question you got to ask all of the time, and stop listening to anything that's negative. Anything that's negative, you don't want it. You want to not participate in that. But I want you to pay close attention to those two starting tomorrow and see the subtleties that are going to come out, that are going to point to where this country is going. Because on July 4th, 2024 is an extremely important time. And we are, but this is an all man's thing that me and Jazz are putting together. But I also have a masterclass coming, because we cannot continue to miss these opportunities. These are opportunities. and we have to be able to be a part of it and be successful. And that's why we do the work that we do.
I want to thank you so much for coming on and showing that love. I got other things. I'm getting ready to leave to go to New York tomorrow. So it is what it is.
Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm doing hitting the road, Jack. Don't want to come back because I roll a certain way, so I just can't be on that plane doing too much. You know what I'm saying? They doing too much on them planes right now. and please, family, make sure you hit up at Cash App. That's $Saturn796. Hit up at Linktree, of course, Linktree/Peace157. Diamonds_8 at IG. Hit up at the email at diamond@leveluniversity.com. And again, make sure you go to that Linktree and get all the books on her websites and everything. Take her classes, her courses, everything that's going on. Appreciate you, Diamond, for coming on, Neena.
Thank you.
What you're doing. You still do what you call it? You still do Clubhouse, right?
Yeah, we do Clubhouse.
Still doing your Clubhouse. Good. So big up. What's the Clubhouse name again, please? What's the Clubhouse?
And my new one is Diamond's Corner.
Oh, Diamond's Corner. Okay, you in the corner now, huh? Diamond's Corner. All right. Well, sister, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. We got to talk about it. I got to show you that new venue that we got over there, that health spa.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Let's go. You got to check it out. Probably when I come back. I'll be back next week.
Okay.
We go and check it out, and we meet with the sister because she's also does tarot and stuff. She's very good at, but she's in the Nation of Islam also, which is interesting.
I was in the Nation too.
But she's really hooked on and connected to Mother Tanetta Muhammad, because Tanetta was trying to bring that energy. You know what I'm saying? And the messenger wanted her, but everybody is not ready for that in the nation a lot. You know, so. But respect to you, sister, and be safe, be great in whatever you do. And thank you again for coming on. Let's give you a round of applause. All right.
Thank you.
All right, sis. That's right. That's our great sister, Neena Diamond, in the building. Make sure you support her, whatever she's doing and however she's doing it. And make sure you go to her Linktree to find out what's going on, all the classes that she got going. Her and I'm going to bring on Jackie, probably Levine soon, and because she got a new book. I have her first book. I don't have the second book yet, but I know we're going to have to get it in and get that book also and show love. Again, make sure you support Neena Diamond at what she does through the Cash App, Linktree, IG, all the things that her do. And I believe she also have a YouTube channel. Yes, it's on the link. It's on the Linktree. Her YouTube channel is on Linktree also. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Remember, next week, my dear sister, Carrie Ann Ingram returns. She returns from Jamaica, or she will be in Jamaica at a nice spot that has good Wi-Fi. And next week we're gonna have the one, the only Rizza Islam will be in. The brother Rizza will be with us next week. And make sure you support Carrie Ann Ingram. We usually do this Wednesday thing every Wednesday, but she had to go out for family, personal business as far as family is concerned. Go to her website, carrieanningram.com, carrieanningram.com. Once again, don't forget this coming weekend, I'll be in Brooklyn, New York. Come and give me a hug. Come and see us. And my Bowman is going to be here. Unc Rising Sun. Mama Ella right now is with Brother Rich right now, but all of them are going to be with me live and direct April the 13th. And then April the 14th, we got Dr. Shakira Moore, Adara Moselle, Lloyd Strayhorn, the astronumerologist phenom himself. It's going to be big. And then don't forget, Rizza Islam will be in Nicholas, Brooklyn on the 27th and the 28th. Martial arts teacher is doing his big thing. So if you want to be a spectator, you can be a part of it. If you want to be on the mat, come on down. He's 80 years old. You need to come. You ain't got no excuse if this 80-year-old man get on there and do what he does. All right. And big up to Infandishi coming to Nicholas also. Big up to my son also with his Green Studio, NYC.com with Jeff and the crew. Again, there's the one, the only Carrie Ann Ingram and her jewels and all the services that she does through carrieanningram.com. Big up to Lloyd Strayhorn, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Hit him up. And don't forget, if you want to book a session with me, text me at 347-496-1022. If you live outside of the United States, please use WhatsApp if you want to do a numerovation session with me. Get my books on Amazon or go to my Linktree. And remember, the audio book is about to come out and the new children's book is about to hit the streets also. Family, Like Dr. B. Sirius says, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. And like Dr. Blair used to say, please, universal creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth in your love now. Thank you very much, Dr. Blair. Once again, want to thank Neena Diamond for coming on and sharing that love on why these modalities make sense. Take care, family. Be safe, be great, and be numerovationally motivated in every way you can. All right? Peace. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
King Simon, I love him. He's family, and he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually.
Right.
So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, this show is called, it was really based on numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny.
Yes.
By King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numerovator. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to Linktree/King Simon the Numerovator. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now. So remember, our job as studiers of these metaphysical, esoteric knowledge is to help enhance people to be better. I, as a numerovator, using the numbers, or quote-unquote numerals, and motivation to get people to understand why they need to activate their numbers to be their very best self and maximize it. Because the numerals hold a frequency. And if you're willing to turn up that frequency, then that frequency can help to guide you and navigate you to a higher height that will allow you to spiral to be your best self. We must remember that.